Hello friends, welcome to Samachar Manthan 2022 program. So as you know that we have received a lot of mails, we have received a lot of messages, requests that when we will be launching the next phase of Samachar Manthan because it's not a new program, it's an old program. This is the fifth batch of Samachar Manthan program. And till date, many people consider it to be the best in the market, and it has been helping in ensuring that aspirants have a control over current affairs because current affairs is an Achilles heel for many aspirants. Many aspirants, they are good with the static part, but they don't know what exactly to read, from where to read, how much to read with respect to current affairs. So Samachar Manthan is a program which actually deals with this problem. Right. Now, before we move on to the key philosophy of the program, let us first understand what exactly or what is the importance of current affairs in this exam. So basically, if we see around, we see that UPSC has been asking a lot of direct questions from current affairs. Other than that, UPSC is also asking many indirect questions. Basically, the question looks like a static question, but there has a current affairs element attached to it. For example, if we see these two questions which were asked in 2020 mains, you can see that the question says, once a speaker, always a speaker. Do you think this practice should be adopted to impart objectivity to the office of Speaker of Lok Sabha? What can be its implications for robust functioning of parliamentary business in India? Now, this question looks like a static question because it is asked about a body which is mostly a static body, speaker. But if you see the context is contemporary because the post of speaker has been in news because of many controversies associated with it. So because of this, we believe that they have asked this question because it was in news. Speaker's role in money bill, speaker's role in anti-defection, they were in news, right? Similarly, if you see the next question, how far do you think cooperation, competition and confrontation has shaped the nature of federation in India? Cite some recent examples. Again, this looks like a question on federalism, which is a static part. But again, it has certain current affairs elements because competitive federalism, cooperative federalism, confrontation, these terms were in news in recent years because of this GST issue and other issues, issues related to COVID and decentralization. So basically, my idea here is that explicitly, a lot of questions are asked from current affairs, but even implicitly, many static questions, even they have certain current affairs element. So I would say that current affairs is perhaps one of the most important areas of your preparation. Now, what exactly is the importance of current affairs in mains? Let us understand. So if you see, the GS paper 1, almost 20 questions had current affairs orientation. GS2, 16 in 18, 15 in 19 and almost 18 questions in 2020. GS3, 17 questions out of 20, 19 in 2019 and 18 in 2020. Which means almost 90% of the questions in GS2 and GS3, they have a current affairs orientation. Similarly, if we talk of GS1, now GS1 is perhaps the most static subject, but even in GS1, the questions which look very static have a very current affairs orientation. For example, current affairs, if you see these questions, it says has lost its relevance in understanding the multicultural Indian society. Elaborate your answer with illustrations. So again, this question, if we see this question, we clearly understand this. See, this looks like a topic which is static, caste. But has it lost its relevance in understanding the multicultural society? So it has a current affairs orientation to it. Similarly, if you see this question, do you agree that regionalism in India appears to be a consequence of rising cultural assertiveness? Argue. Again, the question has a very current affairs orientation. जो पूरा issue हुआ है, flag का issue हो गया, language का issue हो गया. So it has a current affairs orientation. Same goes with the next question. So all these questions, are we losing our local identity for the global identity? Again, all these questions, they look static, but they have a current affairs orientation. So basically, my idea is that even GS1, which looks the most static subject, has, or the majority of the questions which are asked in GS1 have a current affairs orientation. Now let's move on to prelims. So even in prelims, if you see, current affairs का अगर हम weightage देखेंगे, it is close to 50%, more than 50%. Right? Last year, 47 questions were asked. In 19, it's 50, 18, 45, 17, 40, and in 16, 65. So, almost half of the paper is asked from the current affairs. Now, even in interview, current affairs is very important because majority of the questions which are asked from the aspirants, they are mostly opinion based and mostly the topics are related to current affairs. Similarly, even in essay paper, at least one topic has a current affairs orientation. So in total, my idea here is to emphasize on the fact that current affairs is the most important section of your UPSC preparation. Now let's come to the philosophy of this program. Basically, it has 6, 7, 8 main elements which are part of this program. So first philosophy of this program is that we go for a diversified coverage. So as you know that nowadays reading Hindu is not sufficient. You need to read 3-4 newspapers, certain weekly journals, certain magazines, etc., etc. And it's not possible for an average aspirant to do that because you need to also finish your static part. You also need to finish your optionals. So you cannot devote 5 hours a day on current affairs, and therefore you always are stuck in, or you are always stuck to 1 or 2 newspapers, a maximum 1, in some cases 2. But I believe they are not sufficient because many questions which UPSC has been asking, they go beyond Hindu. They go beyond Indian aspects. For example, this question was asked in 2016. If an amendment bill to the Whistleblower Act 2011 is passed, there may be no one left to protect. Now, they had taken this question from an article which was there in Scroll, and they asked this question from that article. If you read the article, the heading of the article is same. Similarly, this question, what can France learn from Indian Constitution's approach to secularism? Again, this question was asked from this Wire article. Similarly, how can mountain ecosystem be restored from the negative impact of development initiative and tourism? This was asked from an article from Down to Earth. Similarly, this question, the public expenditure management is a challenge to the government of India in the context of budget making during the post-election period. Now, this question was asked from an article from LiveMint. So I want to emphasize this thing that diversified coverage is required, and in Samachar Manthan we provide that. We cover 4-5 newspapers. We cover Down to Earth magazine. We also cover certain weekly and fortnightly journals. The idea is that we want to ensure that whatever we teach here, everything should come from this in your mains exam and to an extent even in the prelims exam. Okay. Similarly, the second key philosophy of Samachar Manthan program is what to read and what to ignore. So this is very important because many times those aspirants who have just started preparation, usually क्या होता है कि they don't really know exactly what is important for this exam and what is not important for the exam. When I started preparation, I used to make notes of even most silliest topics. Now I laugh at those moments when I was also making notes of let's say a tragedy in South Africa, tragedy in mines where 10 people were killed. So I used to make these notes. I used to, cover these news, and I used to make short notes of that, and I used to tag it under the key international developments. All these things, they cannot be asked in the exam. But I used to do that because nobody was there to tell me what is important and what is not important. So for an average aspirant, first 3 to 4 months are lost because of not reading what is important for the exam. So in this program, we ensure that whatever we give to you, whatever we teach, that is important for the exam. We will not teach you anything, we will not give you notes of anything which is not important for exam, because we want that your time should be utilized optimally. For example, I can give you this example. Now there's a news which says workers at Centra Vista project reside at work site. Now this is a news which is not important for the exam. Now if you see the second news, India's CPI retail inflation in February, the news talks of the data, the IIP growth and the retail inflation growth in the month of February 2021. Now this news might look important to you, but this news is not important because UPSC never asks 1 month data. UPSC can ask you a brief trend, or even when you quote, when you're writing a mains answer, and if you want to quote some data, you usually quote a trend that in 2017-18 this much was the IEP growth, between April to December 2019 this was the retail inflation, or this was the figure for retail inflation. So usually you quote a trend, and even if UPSC asks a question in prelims, they usually ask about a trend. They will not ask about a particular month. So again, a new aspirant can make this mistake that this news is important, and therefore he or she will waste his 10 minutes for it, but this news is not important, right? Similarly, if we talk of certain op-eds, so let's say this is the op-ed from crisis to catastrophe. This is written by P. Chidambaram, and many aspirants will feel कि भाई अच्छा op-ed लग रहा है, let's read it, and they will waste their half an hour on this. But usually, you don't need to read op-eds from a political person, and especially from the opposition, because the op-ed will not be objective. There will be a bias in it, right? There are certain op-eds by Chidambaram where he writes as a pure economist. Those op-eds you can read, but where he is talking about something related to government policy, then you can see that he is in opposition. His role is to criticize the government, right? So you need to ignore these. Similarly, there are many other important news, or there are many news in the newspaper which looks important to a beginner, to a new aspirant, but they are not important. So we will ensure कि भाई आप exactly वही चीज read करो which is important for this exam. For example, एक और चीज मैं बोल जाता हूँ कि there are certain op-eds, which are published in the newspaper, and usually they revolve around the same thing. For example, COVID and fiscal stimulus. Almost 50 op-eds have been written on it in last 1 year. Vaccine inequality. Almost 30 op-eds have been written in last 6 months. Now, basically, what you do is that you waste your time reading these op-eds again and again. So, what we do is that if suppose there are 5 op-eds on fiscal stimulus and COVID. So, what we do is that we actually, make a comprehensive note on that, and we ensure that the best elements of these 5 op-eds are incorporated, and therefore you don't need to waste your time in reading similar op-eds again and again, right? Similarly, third important key philosophy of this program is extracting UPSC relevant information from the news. For example, if you see this news, it says how reverse repo rate became benchmark interest rate in the Indian economy. Now, this is the news. Now, in this news, there are certain components which are important for mains, certain components which is important for prelims. Analysis part is important for mains, factual part is important for prelims. For example, the mains relevant stuff is critically examine the efficiency of reverse repo rate as a benchmark interest rate in the Indian economy. This question could be asked in the mains exam. Regarding prelims exam, or regarding prelims, terms like reverse repo rate, LTR or long-term repo operations, benchmark interest rate, these are important. And a question could be asked from these areas in the prelims exam. So we also, or our notes contain these things. We divide the topic in this way, that this is important for your mains, this is important for your prelims with respect to the above news. ठीक है ना? Similarly, in this program, we also focus on developing answer writing skills. So basically होता क्या है कि every week there is a weekly mains test and the questions are framed from the issues of the week. ठीक है ना? So in this program, there are more than 52 weekly tests, right? And basically the idea is that, you will be, you will write on almost each and every topic which is there in the news. And, basically let's be very honest, answer writing skills are perhaps the most important thing which an aspirant need to master in, because if you don't master the art of answer writing, you cannot clear the exam. Because ultimately, rank आपको GS के marks से ही आपको rank मिलेगी. And for that, you need to write good answers. And if you think कि भाई pre के बाद हम answer writing start करेंगे, so that is a, that is a very, late, decision, because 2-3 महीने में आप जो है इतने expert नहीं बन सकते, and the kind of competition, you cannot really master the art of answer writing in just 2 months. You need at least 8 to 9 months before the pre-exam. You need to start answer writing, and therefore this program focuses a lot on answer writing. We ensure that, after writing 52 tests, after getting it reviewed from our experienced mentor, you will be at a position where, you feel confident. You feel confident about your answer. You feel like this, ki haan bhai, I can clear the exam. And the basic philosophy of this whole idea is, ki bhai, it's a 4-stage program. So every Saturday, live lecture will be there, right? And the live lecture will not be, like this. We have a office, we have a recording studio, and we have a digital board. So sample lecture जो है वो description box में होगा. You will see how we record the lectures. And we are doing this because of COVID and because of lockdown in Delhi. So after the lecture is provided to you, you watch the lecture, then you read the notes. Once you will watch the lecture, many things will be simplified for you. So you will start understanding the PDF. Once you understand the PDF, you attempt the test, right? And once you write answers, then the answers will be reviewed, right? And after that, you read the model answers. So it helps you in retention, right? Ultimately, when you write answers on 520 different topics, then you feel confident about yourself. Because आप जब किसी चीज पे, आप किसी टॉपिक पे आंसर लिखते हैं, then your retention ability, it improves. ठीक है ना? So therefore, that is why we give so much focus on answer writing, कि भाई आंसर राइटिंग के बिना जो है आप चीजें भूल जाओगे. इसके अलावा there will be detailed notes with proper categorization of news into mains and prelims category. And 6th and very important thing is conceptual clarity. So in our lectures, we try to ensure that whatever we teach in a very layman language, so that even a very average aspirant who has just started preparation, even he understands the crux of the issue, right? So that is why every week we provide 3 to 3.5 hours lectures. I will take economics, polity and IR. Other faculties will take the other subjects, science, environment and internal security. So you can see from these reviews, these are all our students who have given us reviews on Quora, and you can see these reviews, you can read these reviews. They all have emphasized how, after joining Samachar Manthan, how they have improved, how they have made an improvement, right? Similarly, you can see these screenshots. They also clearly emphasize that how much they love the lectures which have been given to them. how the lecture has been crisped, how the lecture has, how the lecture helps them in developing conceptual clarity. So all these screenshots are there. And similarly, the next important component of this program is mentorship. So, we after you get enrolled, you are enrolled in our Habitat group, and in that Habitat group there will be other students also. So you understand this thing. Everybody is preparing from different cities, and we are in the middle of lockdown. And because we are in the middle of lockdown, you are not able to interact with other aspirants, know their problems, know their progress. So Habitat group provides you that platform where there will be other students, other peers. You can interact with them. You can create a separate subgroup, right? According to your optionals, etc., or according to your status of preparation. So on Habitat, once you're enrolled on the Habitat group, whatever question you have in mind, you can ask, right? And we will resolve it within certain time. और आपका कोई time नहीं, किसी भी time पूछ सकते हो. Similarly, we have weekly doubt discussion sessions. So here, what we do is that whatever we have taught in the last lecture, हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि हम आपसे पूछते हैं कि भाई आपको कुछ चीज समझ में नहीं आई, तो you can always ping us. So every Monday, every Tuesday, we have a dedicated doubt resolution session. ठीक है ना? और सिमिलरली many times आपको कोई डाउट होता है तो आपके जो peer होते हैं वही वो डाउट को clarify कर देते हैं. So you can see how it works. So somebody has asked a doubt, and this is how I replied. Many times, since I'm a lazy person, I usually record a voice chat because I don't like typing a lot. Similarly, see, this person has asked a question, and another peer has replied. So many times even peer replies. ठीक है ना? Similarly, see, I have replied to that person. Similarly, there is Ishika ma'am, who is another mentor. She has replied to the person. So this is how we resolve the doubts. Okay, now you can see that. Similarly, before the prelims and the mains exam, we also run a marathon revision chat-based session on our Habitat platform. तो हम क्या करते हैं कि देखो होता क्या है कि every week, because in 1 year we teach you everything under the sun. अब हम उसके बाद जब प्री आने वाले होते हैं या मेंस आने वाले होते हैं तो हमको लगता है कि भाई आप you have read so many things. Now it's a time to revise. And what we do is that from week one we start revision. कि week 1 में ये important topics थे prelims के लिए, ये आपको read करने हैं. उस पे पूरा हम लोग session करते हैं. See the screenshots. So this is a session on week 1. Then we move to week 2, week 3. ऐसे करते करते हम पूरे week 2 तक जाते हैं. And we focus on those topics जो कि prelims oriented है. और अगर मेंस की बात है तो we focus on those topics जो मेंस oriented है. ठीक है ना? Similarly, if we talk of a next component, we also organize a frequent Google Meet session with the students to check on students preparation status कि भाई exactly आपको क्या problem हो रही है. और इसमें ऐसा नहीं है कि you can discuss current affairs doubts. You can also discuss other doubts also, your other general preparation related doubts also. So we also organize that frequently. Similarly, this program is not just a current affairs program. We also discuss those themes which are not exactly current affairs, but we feel that there is a chance that these topics can be asked in the actual exam. For example, Panchayati Raj. We know that Panchayati Raj, they will ask question every year. So even when Panchayati Raj is not in news, still we give a proper, or we cover this issue in a detail. For example, last week we covered land reforms in India. Now land reforms was not in news, but we thought that land reform is an important topic, so let's cover it comprehensively. Similarly, earlier we covered PDS reforms, we covered cyber security. So all those probable topics which we feel that there's a chance that they can be asked in the exam, we cover those topics comprehensively. Similarly, we understand this thing that every week you are given a PDF, and that PDF is little bulky. So for you to revise that PDF before the exam, it's a very difficult task. So therefore, we understand you, and along with the PDF, we also provide you micro notes. These are short notes, short crisp notes. For example, if the PDF is 50 pages, these micro notes will be, let's say, of 13, 14 pages, and they are organized like this, very small points, so that you can revise those topics just before the exam. Now, if we talk of alignment of Samachar Manthan with the actual mains paper, this is what students have to say about this. These are all enrolled students. Now, here the student is saying that how, the themes that we have taught in Samachar Manthan, same kind of questions are asked in the mains exam. Here, a student is asking me that, 70% of the questions were covered in Samachar Manthan. He's saying that you guys have an amazing hit ratio. Similarly, somebody is saying that question 2 has been recently discussed in Samachar Manthan. Somebody is also saying that did you set the paper? So clearly it shows that Samachar Manthan, the themes that we teach in Samachar Manthan, they are also asked in the actual mains exam. Majority of the themes are asked in the actual mains exam, and we'll prove that. So, for example, if we talk of GS paper 2, you can see that this was the question which was asked in the mains exam, and this is the question that we have asked in our weekly test. Which means if a question is asked in the weekly test, it means कि वो theme अपने समाचार मंथन ने cover करी होगी. So see the same theme we have covered in Samachar Manthan. Similarly, you can see this question, National Commission for Women. These are all questions asked in 2020 mains. See this, we have covered that in Samachar Manthan. Similarly, we have covered this theme, competitive and cooperative federalism. We have discussed about Rajya Sabha in detail. Similarly, we have asked about this increasing centralization. Similarly, we have asked about this, judicial overreach, and a question has been asked on this topic. Similarly, we have asked about this Panchayati Raj. We have asked about this topic of speaker. See these things. All these things we have covered in our Samachar Manthan series. Same goes with GS3 also. GS3 also, almost everything is covered in Samachar Manthan. So almost 80 to 90% questions which were asked in the actual mains exam, हमने उसको Samachar Manthan में कभी ना कभी cover किया था. ठीक है ना? So this is my guarantee that if you cover Samachar Manthan comprehensively, आपको कोई और source पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है, and you will do decently well in the mains exam. Right, and it's not a new program. It has a good reputation in the market. Everybody knows about this program. So I don't need to boast anything. The existing students, they all say this fact on Quora, on other social media platforms. So I'm looking forward to meet you guys. The program will be starting from 5th of June, and this program will continue till next prelims. ठीक है ना? So let's meet each other on Habitat, and this is all we have in this program. See you guys. Thank you.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civil's Daily.